this might be a hot take, knocking on people's door to see what they're up to and, like, sit down and have a cup of coffee and talk, or calling up someone and saying, "Hey, what you up to?" And not feel like, "Maybe I should text them ahead of time and find out what they're up to before I call them." I saw this scene in a movie where the dad drops off his daughter, the daughter gets out of the car, and he's like, "Aren't you" like, they were gonna pick up someone, and he's like, "Honey, aren't you gonna go knock on the door? Like, go get her?" And she's like, "Rude? I'm texting her. I'm not knocking on the door. Dad, that's rude." And you're like, "How is that rude?" And I sat there thinking, like, I remember back in the day, like, neighbors knew each other. We were knocking on each other's doors. People knew each other in that way. Instead of knowing people in their business on social media, we were in their business in real life. Are there some things from the 1980s that you miss and would like to bring back into this timeline? Well, Joanne and I have been having that conversation for a little while now about the different things that we experienced in the 1980s that we wish we still had today. So, buckle up, everybody. We're about to kind of dive deep into this one. Joanne, tell me, you go first.
Okay, I first want to point out that I'm not sure some of these ideas, if it was just because I was a kid or if it's really something I miss. This one I think is something I really miss, which is magazines.
Ooh, I mean, there's still
Really
magazines,
miss
but
it.
they're not in big
No,
circulation.
yeah, and you know what? I was in our supermarket here, and they took out all the magazines. You can't buy magazines at one of our supermarkets now. Yeah, that was my reaction. What? They put
So,
something else there
true
instead.
story. I was watching a creator on YouTube where she takes old magazines and she takes like a really sharp knife kind of thing and she carves out all the different pictures and she makes collages out of it. And I thought,
Right.
oh, this
We
is
used
so
to do
cool.
that.
I want to do that. Like I remember doing that as a
Oh,
kid.
okay.
And like no, like she would make whole scenes like a cat riding the back of a horse in outer space. You know, cool stuff. So, but then I sat there thinking, like, where would I get a magazine?
Yeah, our library doesn't carry them anymore. They used to have a whole section. It was the quiet room too, because the rest of the
Wow.
now you go in, it's empty. They don't even use it. It's just empty and it's sad. And I really miss magazines. I really miss flipping because going through your phone like it's not the same. It's that tactile feel
Yeah,
that I
no, I
miss.
agree. So I was writing down something that had kind of like a little bit of a resounding theme. Like I thought they were individual things, but they're all one. I would love to stop having 24/7 television programming.
Mm,
It's not even programming anymore. It is just,
mhm.
pick and choose. You would think that that would be like the convenience of it all. Like, oh, I can watch it whenever I want. But the truth is, I enjoyed Saturday morning cartoons
Mm.
or those designated times because there was an anticipation for it. There was an excitement for it that it was a treat if you got to watch it. Or maybe when we came home from school, the first couple of hours, there really wasn't that much on TV when it came to cartoons, but hit around the 4:30, 5 o'clock, suddenly there was a couple of cartoons while like the news was on another channel. And I remember watching it before mom and dad would put out dinner. And I thought that was cool. The other is maybe no 24-hour news.
Oh, that's not news. That's opinions.
I know, but it becomes like the equivalent or the replacement for 24/7 news because all these channels are supposed to be news channels. And
Yeah.
back in the day, it was you had your local news go on, then you had your national news. It was an hour, you were done. Or you get newspapers, much like magazines. You'd wait for the newspaper to tell you what was going on in the world.
Sunday mornings with bagels and Kaiser rolls and Danishes, and we all sit around the table, read the
Passing
newspaper,
around sections.
the comics.
You wanna hear funny? We were out, this weekend, and Bob picked up a newspaper, and he's like, Look how thin the Sunday newspaper is, like, what's up with that?
I find that the newspapers that are surviving are the little somewhat surviving, the little town newspapers because most people, want to know what's going on in their town, and it's easier to get that in a newspaper than finding it in the flood of the internet.
Right. So
Yeah,
I would love to see more designated times because I just sometimes feel like the
that's
easy
never gonna happen.
access. Oh, yeah, no, I know, but I can dream, Joanne.
Yeah.
That that's not going back into Pandora's box. It is what it is.
It
But
is what
I
it is.
do miss the anticipation of some of the shows that I watch, and I miss being disconnected from information that I don't need to know right now.
Yeah.
I have no
Oh, it's
power
so
over it.
funny. We were having that discussion today. I remember in my 20s when something happened. I don't remember the details at all, but something happened in California, but I wasn't in California. And I said, well, if it didn't happen to me, it didn't happen. And the person I was with said, that's the problem with us is that we don't care what happens to other people. And after 55 years, yeah, I care, but if I care about every little incident that happened in the world, it would crush me. It does
Mhm.
crush me at times. And you pull away from it. And it's like, no, I'm just taking care of my little community. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
I'm not
Absolutely
saying
agree.
not to be aware. I'm just saying, you know, you can wear yourself thin.
Your turn, Joanne.
Privacy. And we mentioned
Yeah.
it before we came on air, but yeah, privacy, that's a big one.
I what part of privacy? I mean anything really.
I had this one computer guy say to me, he was in cybersecurity. He's like, they know everything about you. It's like,
Mm.
don't even bother trying to have privacy. They know everything. It's like, you're so pessimistic.
But it's crazy because when you think about how sacred privacy was when we were growing up,
I think
like,
it
to the
was taken
point
for
where
advantage. I think we just,
9/11 is what made it all kind of crumble, in all honesty. That
I
was when
think
they
the
started to
internet in
have the
general,
because I feel as though that is at the time when they passed I forgot the name of it, if anybody's listening and they
probably the
remember the name of
Patriot
it.
Act.
Patriot Act, that was it. The Patriot Act that gave them the right to be able to kind of listen in on it to ensure that we're not going to have another issue. And now I look back on it and I'm like, yeah, that had nothing to do with anything. Like
I think they were already gathering the information before
everything got
Patriot Act.
steamrolled, you
But
know?
it got permission now, and that now
Mhm.
nobody could say, "Hey, they're spying on us." Technically, they're still not supposed to, but they did make it a lot easier to do so.
I
But
actually one of the things I wrote down kind of goes hand in hand with privacy. I almost made it like, well, like it's kind of like privacy, but it's different. Um, I want to bring back making mistakes and no one sees it.
well, that's what I was thinking along privacy. You know
Yeah,
how many dumb things I did, and if it came out, I would be incredibly embarrassed, but I wouldn't want to. It's the same concept of the whole, well, if it didn't happen to me, it didn't happen. It's like,
right.
why do I have to get forgiveness from the whole freaking world because I made this one stupid mistake?
And it's even more than just making a stupid mistake. It's when we're going through life, we are going to make like if we don't make mistakes, we don't learn, right? So what happens is
Yeah.
that when we are constantly demonized or made fun of or um, canceled, and trust me, sometimes I feel like certain people deserve to be canceled and other times no. Sometimes I'm like, you're not really giving people the breath of space to be able to grow and learn from that experience, and you're just automatically eliminating any possibility of them having any growth. I mean, it's almost pushing them to a spot where they're just gonna perpetuate that kind of behavior for the rest of their lives because it's all, do what I
Yeah.
want. But
Yeah.
I
'Cause
think
there are
it's
times when I see people getting canceled,
mm.
it pisses me off, and I wanna go with them.
And it creates a level of perfectionism that nobody can live up to.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
one can live up to, because guess what? None of us are perfect. Eh, none of us ever will be, and it goes back to also on social media, and this is part of the privacy thing, that now I don't know, maybe I should save it for the next one, but I'm gonna segue into my next thing because it kind of goes hand in hand. When it comes to people being idolized on social media
mhm.
and the perfectionism that goes on it, people love to put somebody on a pedestal just so they can knock them down, and truth is
Well,
there's
I think
no way
it's
they can
more
be
some
perfect.
people like to be on likes to put people on pedestals, and there are other people who like to knock them down. And what I find fascinating, um, actually, we don't really have British people who are listening to us, so I'm gonna say it. In Britain, I am astounded at how much they believe their news sources, even when it seemed like tabloid news. That they're I am astounded at the
It is interesting because I know that Americans get made fun of a lot because of the misinformation that's flying around out here and how there's, like, whole entire cultures that are in this conspiracy theory kind of
Mhm.
spot. I mean, I've gotten into some conspiracy theories here and there, but, like, for the most part, you kinda take it with a grain of salt, right? But there's a lot of people that really buy into it. And yeah, I agree. I forgot what publication it is, but there's a publication that's really like what I would say is the equivalent of our Inquirer. But
Mhm.
I always thought it was kind of funny because it seemed like it was taken more seriously. And that always seemed kind of strange to me.
Yeah.
So it always like,
I wanna
what is
say
it?
the
Bob used
Sun
to say,
News.
anytime someone's pointing a finger at you, there's four
That was
fingers
mom.
pointing at you. Yeah.
Mama, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I agree, and that's why I read Spare, by Prince Harry, and I am astounded, how the news works, and I believe
Mm.
him. I know, it's who you believe, but I also believe the people are allowing this behavior to happen.
Oh, yeah. Because
But
there's always you could sit there as chicken or the egg. Is it the news organizations that are creating it, or is it the public that is eating it voraciously? And if people start to wake up, so to speak, and realize that it's all baloney, will the media change? I don't know. I don't know,
yeah.
Joanne. I do have friends that believe in Bigfoot.
Do you?
Not me.
Oh.
I have friends though.
No, that's what I'm saying. You really have friends who believe in it?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you who it is. It's Ray.
Okay, I can forgive that.
Yeah. And he'll love you for that.
Oh, boy. I don't know why
When
but
she hears Ray, it's like,
it's like,
okay.
"Yeah, okay, that makes sense."
Anyways, go ahead. You go on.
I will say this for Bigfoot. I didn't know Neanderthals was a human-like a race, but not human, and some people believe that Bigfoot was one of the Neanderthals. So maybe there's this
Maybe.
angle that Bigfoot did exist,
We
last
should
of its
bring Ray
kind.
on, and he'll tell us his entire theory about Bigfoot. Just share it with
That
all of
would
us.
be
So if you
delightful.
hear that, like,
If
tell us
he
in the
is
comments.
prepared to answer questions,
Oh, yeah,
I
no,
totally.
it stuns me how much he knows.
Okay,
Stuns me.
that'll be interesting. Okay.
Mhm.
I gotta put my glasses on. So here's one of the things that I feel like it might be because I was a kid, but I felt like there was more community in the sense, yeah, I meet online and stuff. It's not the same. Like we would have craft fairs at our school, hence the school part, but mom and dad would come too. And it was kind of just a place that people hung out and you'd see people and,
Now,
um
to be fair, Joanne, that was a religious organization,
right.
and a lot of religious organizations now are still like that. The difference is we're not participating in them. So
So
it
they
might
have
seem
craft
skewed that
fairs
way.
here, but I don't see them here. I don't see them in religious organizations.
Mm.
I have gone to them, but I've never bumped into anyone, and that could be it too. I'm living in a more densely populated area, so
I
you're
have to
less
say,
likely to be.
the last time I was in on Long Island, I still saw them at
Yeah,
different school like,
but
churches and whatnot. So they still exist. It could have been a cultural thing for Long Island and maybe
yeah.
not anywhere else. But I will
But then
agree.
you think of the Christmas tree lighting. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
kind of religious, but that one was not through a religious organization. It was through the government, public services. That too, you would come and then bump into people. There were things that you would go to and you would bump into people. I, I don't, that's not happening here.
Right. I know. I
I
mean, they
do go
have
to craft
things.
shows, but I don't bump into anyone I know.
I am of the theory that community, depending on where you're going, and I think that if you don't feel like that's going on that much in, your area, that maybe you should be the one that's starting it.
Ugh.
It's becoming a lot more prevalent, and the reason why is because I think people are starting to feel very disconnected with social media and everything ever since, I think, COVID, and there's a craving for that connectivity, and also with the instability that is going on throughout the entire world and within our country, more and more people are starting to realize how important it is to connect with community locally, not just
Face to
online,
face. Yeah,
face to
face to
face.
face. Yes.
Because when you think about it, do you know your neighbor?
Yes, yes. No,
Yeah.
no.
Like, back in New York when we were not so much when we were younger, but, like, we definitely knew our neighbors, that's for sure. And then later in, like,
Except
the
for the 2
'90s
at
and
the
early
end.
2000s, you heard of, like, block parties and people did stuff
They did have
together.
block parties here, but they don't
Yeah,
anymore.
so not anymore, not since then. So I do wish there was more of that. In the same breath, I've also been part of the problem, a little bit of a hermit where I'm like, "I don't know."
To be fair, block parties, the regulations for them are harder.
Mm. Well, what I was gonna say is that I do think the only that is something I think that can come back, and I think in some ways it is coming back with different populations. Uh, I was telling Joanne earlier today, I started Couch to 5K program, to start running again because thought to myself, I'd really love to run a 5K. And doing that, there's usually a group of people that are doing that in the local area. Every single 5K that's coming up, there's like series around here. People join into them and start doing them. And it's usually the
That's
same people
true.
over and over again. So I sat there thinking, all right, you know what? There's actually a brewery in our art district, and once a week, I forget what they call it, but they do a run over the bridge in Eau Gallie.
Yes, Gordon's done that.
They run over it and
I
back,
got
and then
pregnant.
you get a free beer when you get back to the
We did
brewery.
it. I've
Uh,
done a hot chocolate run. Gordon's done a beer run. But he did that, but they didn't have beer at the end of it. But he
I
did it
always
on
wanted to do the I
in
Dream
the
a Jeannie
first
one.
one. I always wanted to do that too.
I
But I
haven't done it
wasn't
yet, but I
much of
have
a
to get
runner
back.
then. Yeah. But
Um,
the first one that they ever had, I wanted to do, and then I got pregnant and it was hard to train because I didn't know how to and yada, yada, yada.
this
But
past weekend, Meg O'Malley's hosted the 5K, the St. Patrick's
Meg
Day 5K.
O'Malley's.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
they now have
they're
huge,
huge.
huge,
I
huge
remember when
block
they
party
opened.
for St. Patrick's Day
Good
for
for
3 days. It's
them.
insane. They have, like, 2 stages set up on either side of the district, and, like, you never know what's going on, and
You
there's, like,
don't get that
restaurants
here at
everywhere.
all.
It's crazy now. Like, when I first moved here, it was small, and now it's just grown and
They
grown.
had one at Wickham Park, and the clog dancers used to
Yeah, they
come
don't
out.
do that anymore.
Well, Meg O'Malley's
Mm.
probably took it over, but I remember their 18-cent soup. Do they still have that?
They do,
They
they
do.
do. They
I
do, and
remember
I
taking
get it all
dad
the
there,
time.
and dad was like, "This is good soup. I love this place."
It's
And
good
then him,
soup.
Mr. O'Connor used to go there.
I like to
O'Connor,
get
was
their
it?
18-cent soup and a salad, and that would be not
I've
much of a
gotten
ticket.
their corned beef and cabbage is amazing.
Mm.
Yeah. But, now that you mention it, so this year, I've done a few voter registration tables. I know it's kinda early, but a lot of them are at events, and the events, you meet people like-minded people. So I will say volunteering to events and
Mm.
stuff. Actually start meeting people and you chat with them. That's another way.
So I'm going to say something that I did not do in the '80s and I did not do in the '90s. One in the '80s, I was too young, I think. '90s, I would have been old enough, but I just wasn't interested. But weirdly enough, in my 50s, I would love to do it, and I kind of do. I would have liked to go clubbing.
Oh,
Go and dance and listen to music and dance and just mingle and have a good time. We do that here. There's
not
one
me.
place and it's tiny, but it's great, and, depending on, what day of the week, they have different kind of music playing, but normally it's punk. But, it's kind of fun to go and just chill out and dance and enjoy the music. I like going admittedly during the '80s music because you're listening to it and it's fun, or '90s, and, you relate to it, and it's, like, almost like those songs that everybody knows the words to, so
I would say I did go to them in, not in the '80s, maybe late '80s. Yeah, in high school I did a couple of times, but, in, college I did, and they're not for me.
well, I feel like in the nowadays, at least for the younger generation,
Mhm.
I mean, they do the TikTok dance challenges and stuff like that. I mean, not to regulate, not to make TikTok all about dance. It's not. It's about a lot of different stuff, but they all do those dance challenges and all that other stuff. Stop. Um, but everything is so, you know, let's do this dance trend and that dance trend and look a certain way and all that. Where I do feel like in the '80s, like, I don't think it was about that. Like, yes, we did the white man shuffle, but a lot of times you don't really care. You're just moving your body and going with the music, and you don't care how you look. So I feel like that's more of what I'm trying to say,
That's
is
not
that you
why I
don't
didn't
care
like
because
it.
nobody's watching other than the people that are in the room. So we're going back to privacy.
Yeah. That, is not what I don't like the noise, I don't like they're not I don't like large amounts of people.
No, me neither.
Well,
I what I do is I'll dance and then I step outside because they stand
I
behind,
now
and then I go
as
back in and then I step outside. That's how I
yeah,
handle it because I
but
enjoy it, but I can't handle it, like
yeah, but the '50s, in my '50s, I might be able to handle it a little bit better, but I also didn't like "Hey, how you doing?" I didn't like that either.
mm. I
I
really
didn't
didn't.
like
I think I
meeting
went
people
to a
that way.
club once in the once, and it was early
I am
'90s with my
lucky I
friends.
found someone. It's amazing I married
What,
anyone.
dating?
Yeah, I didn't like
I
it.
mean, I was set up.
I didn't like I didn't like it's not the dating I didn't like. And actually, I often had said that we never really dated. We just hung out and then made out and then got married. Anyway, but I digress. Um, yeah, there's I don't know. That's the one thing I didn't like about the '80s. I think it was but you know what? now that I'm also in my 50s and women are more independent, I have new respect for guys having to come up and ask a girl out. That was tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
That must have been really tough.
Yeah. I don't know if
Okay.
I could have done it. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No, it's all right. It's all right. I think, now again, going back to the fact that we were kids during the 80s, I miss the idea of kids being able to walk to school or ride a bike to school. And um, nowadays, it's like, I feel like there's so many people. How do I articulate this? I
Free
remember
roaming.
when my older kids were at an age where we're trying to figure out what was the right age for them to ride their bike or walk to school. And we kind of came to the terms of where middle school was appropriate, right?
How old is middle school now?
Middle school was, let me see, fifth grade to sixth grade and seventh grade, or somewhere around there, sixth grade and seventh grade.
Seventh and okay,
So I would say probably around 11, 12,
12.
13.
Okay, yeah,
Right, but admittedly, when they went in group as friends, and
yeah,
then eventually they just kinda went on their own.
yeah.
Now, to me, that was the appropriate time. Granted, this meant my kids were learning how to ride a bike at a much later age than we did. Like, we learned a lot younger
I have
because
no idea when I learned.
admittedly, I didn't learn until I was 12 because no one could teach me.
I was just
I
about
taught
to say,
myself.
I don't even remember learning. I think I remember pushing off from the curb and trying to
I
get
pushed off from the gate fence.
Yeah! Okay.
We had a chain link fence in front of our
Look
house,
at
weirdly.
us
And so
learning
I
about
remember
us learning.
dragging myself at first, but then eventually, like, getting the confidence to go,
Yeah.
and learning how to balance on it. But, yeah, I was older, but a lot of kids used to learn it a lot younger. Nowadays, it's like if a kid's on a bike, they're always with a parent. There's no freedom in that. There's no independence in it. And it the
I
difference
don't think
between
it
my
would
older kids
occur
and my
to my
younger kids.
kids.
Yeah. Um, the fact that they were like a little bicycle gang, and my eldest is 27, gonna be 28 in a few weeks. Like, yeah, it
Yeah.
was like he was in a bicycle gang. Like, it
And
was like,
here and here,
and when we were younger, we just went and did whatever we want. We'd disappear and, come back and mom be like, "Oh, where'd you go?" And, you didn't wanna tell her like
to
3
the
towns
mall
over.
that was 15 miles away across many highways.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember riding my bike to the mall. But here, they don't even ride their bikes. They get
Mhm.
the scooters that are motorized. And I always say it drives me nuts, really, because it's dangerous. They don't know the rules of the road, and they're coming out between cars, and it's like, God damn it. Somebody's
Well,
gonna
we're in
get
Florida,
killed.
so we have an epidemic of golf carts. And it's kids
Oh.
riding golf carts. Like, if you look at the high school where my youngest is right now,
Uh-huh.
they had to add a whole section just for golf carts because they're
Okay.
all getting in golf carts instead of riding a car because, they're too young for the license or whatever.
Right.
And it's golf carts everywhere. And can I tell you, I've gone around the corner and saw like a bunch of girls that must have piled into one and it was on its side. I've seen,
I
accidents, like, they're
Danielle,
out of
though,
control, man.
I when we bought we lived I lived where near where Danielle lived. And when we moved there, it was supposed to be a golf cart community.
Mm.
That's why the walking paths are so wide. It was supposed to. Even some of the houses had the two-car garage and a golf cart garage. And that's what I wanted. But nobody really drove golf carts when I was there. So it's kind of hysterical to hear
In
that
my
it
neighborhood,
was
there really
finally
isn't
picked up.
any. Like, this isn't a golf cart neighborhood.
No,
But on the other
because
side of the town,
yeah,
it's
but
everywhere, no matter
but
where you go.
my community was, we were one of the first
Mhm.
communities, and that community and the other ones that were new, was built to be a golf cart community.
That's funny.
Yeah, the only
Well,
ones who really used it was the, military one, but we digress.
regardless, I feel like kids having that freedom
Yeah.
and going for a bike ride, like, I see it here and there, but for the most part, like, I think of when we would ride bike you saw kids on bikes everywhere you went.
Mhm.
Everywhere you went. Nowadays, every once in a while, I'd see it. It's really not that common.
You know what's kind of sad too? So 12-year-olds old is about I think we started letting them kinda go off at 11 and then 12. No, it has to do with safety. We kinda know that it's not that safe out there. But, SNL this past weekend had this joke about some mom leaving her 12-year-old in Disney Springs while she goes to the bar. And okay, maybe she shouldn't have gone to the bar, but 12-year-old at Disney Springs? I didn't
Yeah,
why was that so terrible? The kid was fine. Did she get in trouble for it? I just
maybe.
but they made a joke about it, and, like, "Could you believe that?" And it's like, "Yes, I can." And a Disney bar is barely a bar.
I think
I'm just
of
saying.
us going to Disney and, you know, they might have all came with us to go to an area, whatever, but for the most part, we, like, ran around like
Mm,
free range chickens,
yep,
you
yep,
know?
yep,
I
yep,
mean,
yep,
you
yep,
try
yep,
to
yep.
keep the little ones together, but, like, for example, my we all went to a Catholic school, and in order to go to school, we had to walk because we were relatively close to it. We had to walk around the block, through an elevated train station,
Well, under.
parking lot underneath the train station, then to a major highway on Long Island, it was called Sunrise Highway, cross the highway, and then go in 1 block to our school, and then walk home. And we had a crossing guard on one side, but not on the other side. But, when we
May
coming
I
home
say
when we came home, there was no crossing guard, which I always thought was really funny, like,
that
the danger was on the way there, not on the way back.
no, I don't know about that, but I think they got the crossing guard, and it was a cop usually because of our family. Our family
Really?
specifically. We were the only ones who ever crossed it, but we hated crossing the the with the cop. So we used to at least me, I used to go to the back way to avoid the cop.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. I
And when we came home, the people in the back were released first. So I always went to the back so I could get out and just go home faster.
well, the first time that we apparently, the first time that I ever walked to school was in 1st grade, and it was with you and probably our older brother. And possibly our older sister, but I don't think so. And we would go by ourselves. And so eh, our older brothers and sisters, they were not that much older. I mean, they probably were no higher than maybe 5th grade. So maybe 6th grade. They were not that old. So 10, 11 years old. So mom claims she followed us. Like, I remember finding that out, like, oh no, like, I was so panicked. I followed you guys. I didn't want you to see me, but I followed you all the way through the train station and just watched from the park, the train station park, as you crossed Sunrise Highway, and then I went home. But, but eventually we were just going on the regular without her
I was
seeing.
gonna say, because I know
It might have been once or twice, but that was it.
I
Oh,
only
they'd handle
went
it fine. Because later on, it was
the
just you,
cop
me, and
is there.
Nancy. And
Yeah.
and we were like, 1 grade, 1 grade, 1 grade. Like, we were very close, clumped together, and we were little. We were
Yeah.
little.
Yeah, it's funny because when, particularly I remember being pregnant and I was gonna meet Gordon across the street. I forgot, I think it might have been Palm Bay Road down there and, meet him for lunch. And he goes, "Let me pick you up." I go, "Why? It's right across the street." He goes, "Oh, it's a dangerous road." I went, "Are you kidding me? This is nothing."
That's funny.
And then I showed him Sunrise Highway. I went, "This is what we used to cross." It's like insane. But I do remember I only walked with the cop once or twice at the beginning of the year, and then I would go the other way because I hated. But then the cop disappeared and we could go
Mm.
that way again.
Not elementary.
I
Elementary, we
remember
have to
being
go that
eye
way.
level with his gun. Remember seeing that's when I first saw a gun.
I just remember the lady that was there.
I don't remember that.
It was a
You
lady
must have gone
police
that way
officer.
more than I
She
did.
was an older lady. She was probably like ready for retirement,
Uh,
and so they probably gave her the crossing walk duty.
I
And
remember a
again, she was a
man
cop.
with a mustache,
Mm,
and he did not look like he wanted to be there, and I
yeah,
did
I'm
not want to
sure.
be there with him.
I'm
Yeah.
sure. The point is that I'm not sure what the appropriate age is, but I do know you hear more and more about people saying like, "Oh," like there's a lot of judgment on, "Oh, this kid was walking around the supermarket by
Yeah.
themselves." Uh, okay.
Yeah, that's what was my reaction, a 12-year-old, and she went to a bar. Yeah, it's Disney,
Well,
Mrs.
I will
Wrong.
say
Maybe
this,
we
like,
shouldn't be raising kids, Dale.
I know Disney Springs, I'll admit, is really, really crowded, and I probably would get
It
nervous.
is. But
Um,
12 years old, I think like, I've heard parents here in DC, um, send their kids on the metro, at 12 years old. That
wow.
yeah. I
I mean, there's gotta be a little bit of autonomy. Kids gotta learn how to, have street smarts. So this is what I'm basically saying. I don't think a lot of kids have street smarts anymore.
fair. That could
They
be
really
it
don't.
too.
Well, they don't because they don't know how to handle it. Like, if you are not allowing them to do it, how are you training them how to handle it? I remember being taught how to cross the street and how to look one way, then the other. And it was very specific. Look to the left, look to the right, then look at the left again, then cross. I remember that like you had to
Oh.
go 3 times. It was like a number. And to this day, I still do that. Look to the left, right, left, go.
I don't remember being taught that. I don't know if I do left, right, left. I just make sure there's no cars
Mm.
there.
I'm just saying, I remember, I don't know if it was an older sibling that taught us this or it was the crossing guard. I don't know. But,
I'm not
but,
gonna lie. I used to, my kids are older now, but go into the high school parking lots right in front of the car. Not my kids, because they'd get yelled at by me, but on their phone, walking right in front of the cars. And
mhm,
it's packed with cars. I'm not talking about just my car. I'm talking about everyone coming to drop off their kid at the school on their
mhm.
freaking phones going into the high school. I'm like,
Okay, you go ahead.
okay, I marked this one off. I missed more of a hands-on play. You know how we talked about the games we used to play?
Mhm,
You don't get games like that. I mean, I did talk about how there's this board game culture that's kind of different than, you know, there was more textile-y things. It was more puzzles and playing cards with actual cards, where
mhm,
it's different because I do both. I play online and off because like online, if you make a mistake, you could just undo. It's not as easy to undo when you're playing cards, with the real cards. Even the reading books, holding on to a book, or having the game pieces and rolling the dice. I think there's a lack of that I miss.
I get that. And it's funny that you're saying about even with the books in the hand, there's something
Yeah,
tangible about it.
yeah.
Being able to have it, near you and bookmarks and, I mean, there's
Mm.
a whole culture of people that are
Flip
still
through
very
it
much
when you're
into
looking. Mm.
a physical book, but, and I feel as though it's important for people to get physical books because I'm not saying that, the world it will suddenly lose all of their information one day.
The first EMP that comes by and wipes everything out.
Wipes everything out, and what do we do if we
We
don't
just
have any
start
hard
over.
physical stuff? Start all over. That's a lot of work, Joanne, that takes
There's
effort,
like, oh,
and we've become a lazy society.
as a species, the human race will survive that. There's other
Mm,
things I think it may not survive, including AI and robots, as we have talked about in previous
yes,
episodes. But,
yes.
an EMP, the human race, I don't know if I'd survive, but the human race will survive. Um,
It's fu I was about to say, what I was thinking was next because this triggered off a memory, but now I'm like, I don't know, I must be not very focused today. Did I take my ADHD medication? I don't know, but it just left my head and I didn't write it down, and now I'm like, "What am I
yeah, I
gonna
do
say?"
that. I don't know if that's ADHD because there's a lot of thoughts firing in our head because
That is
it's a
true.
conversation.
And it
But,
does it remember it had to do with something about I now I remember. Um, I miss that people would this might be a hot take, knocking on people's door to see what they're up to and, like, sit down and have a cup of coffee and talk, or calling up someone and saying, "Hey, what you up to?" And not feel like, "Maybe I should text them ahead of time and find out what they're up to before I call them." Or, "Maybe I should text them before I knock." I saw this scene in a movie, and I don't remember what movie, where the dad drops off his daughter, the daughter gets out of the car, and he's like, "Aren't you" like, they were gonna pick up someone, and he's like, "Honey, aren't you gonna go knock on the door? Like, go get her?" And she's like, "Rude? I'm texting her. I'm not knocking on the door. Dad, that's rude." And you're like, "How is that rude?" And I sat there thinking, like, actually, come to think of it, I remember back in the day, like, neighbors knew each other. We were knocking on each other's doors, "Borrow a cup of sugar." Uh,
yeah,
it was a lot more prevalent than it is
yeah.
now. People knew each other in that way. Instead of knowing people in their business on social media, we were in their business in real life.
I don't think I knocked on doors that much. I don't text that much. It's funny because I bought something on Facebook Marketplace just recently, and I don't have Facebook on my phone. I find it a privacy issue. I have with Meta. So I went to the place. She had given me the wrong address. And I came back and I texted her and I said, "Hey, what the hell?" And I more politely than that, but, she said, "Oh, sorry, I'll come outside the door now." And I said, "I'm not there anymore." And she goes, "Oh, just you could I'll text you when I'm out." And I said, "I'm gone. I don't have Meta on my computer on my phone." I just that was a bit of a
Yeah.
She goes, "Why didn't you
Yeah.
tell me you were coming?" Girl. I did
Yeah.
tell you, yeah. But, yeah, I hear what you're saying. I wanted to point out also with the books, a lot of books now are very art-based. Have you gone into a bookstore lately?
Are very
The
what based?
art,
Mm,
look at the binding of a lot of, book.
mm.
It has it they're beautiful. Some of those and some of them are stupid, and I assume they're, AI. The drawing's very basic and ugh, but some of the their piece of art, the book cover and the binding,
Mhm.
along the edges here. Let me see how this now this doesn't that's not what it looks like. I wish my daughter just bought one, and I wish I could show you, but it's beautiful.
I feel like see, I don't wanna go too far off the beaten track, on the topic that we're talking about, but I do feel like society with everything going on, I feel like the things that will save us is art. Art and music and culture
Oh,
and all that, but
Danielle.
Danielle, stop it. Let's not go there. but I think it's important for us to lean into it, especially with AI and stuff like that. We're talking a little bit, I don't know if I was talking to you about it with everything that happened with Timothy Chalamet and how, the whole ballet and opera thing and how it's considered irrelevant. But let's be real, like that is typically an in-person uh, art form. You're going
Mm.
to the theater to go and see it, just like regular theater is. And if everything is going down and everything's going to AI, and you can't find realness anymore, one thing you can be for certain is you're going to find that in a theater. So how irrelevant is it? It is,
Okay, I will say this about Timothy Chalamet. Did we not just say one mistake
one
can
mistake. I
cancel
actually
you?
do feel that way. I actually do feel
He's
that
not,
way.
I don't think he's a bad guy. And it was just something
I
he
don't know
probably
him one way
said,
or another.
not
I think it's
thinking.
very funny that people are
Yeah,
are saying it. But I do think
canceling him.
what
But
I
I
like
agree with you.
about
I
it
love the theater. I'm going
what
in
I like
June
about it
to
is
see
that it's
Stuff's the
creating a
musical.
conversation about art forms, right? And that is good. That is always a great conversation. However, I don't think we need to demonize Timothy Chalamet.
Chalamet. Yeah,
Timothée Chalamet.
Chalamet.
We do not have to we do not
No,
have to
I think
villainize the
that's,
kid. Um,
yeah. Yeah,
but
we
I
see him as a kid too.
we're old now, Joanne. We're allowed to call him a kid.
I know. It is funny though. I even see my kids as,
Like
oh, they're so
my
cute.
eldest
But
son is
then,
older than him. I can call him a kid, you
oh,
know?
really?
Yeah, he's only
That
23, I
means
think.
mine is.
23, 24. But,
Oh,
yeah, I think that,
it was a
yeah,
dumb remark, but no reason to crush the guy. Get
for all
over
you
it.
know, he was trying to express something and you're missing the prevalence or whatever was said before, whatever was said after. There might have been a deeper meaning to it all. Who
Could
knows?
have
But
been
like that's
snarkiness. I have said things. Nobody goes to the theater these
Joanne would
days.
never say anything that might hit a nerve with people ever.
Like
I
the
could tell by
chess.
the downvotes on some of our shorts.
The chess one got. I knew that one was going to hit a nerve, but it had to be said, Danielle. It
Had to
had
be
to be
said.
said.
The point is that we gotta give people a little bit of breath of space, man. Like it's crazy. But at any rate, I think I've hit my limit. Do you have any more that you
One
wanna?
more. I
Mhm.
think I've talked to you about this before, is the amount of plastic we have compared to back then. I remember like opening up the silverware and it was, wow. Today it's, you know,
Which is triggering a thought when you go back to plastics and all that other stuff.
mm,
Because when I think of plastics, I think of literally all the selections that we have at the grocery store. I feel very strongly that the amount of selection and the amount of choices we have is actually one of the most limiting things that we have.
yes, yes,
It is a
yes.
time sucker.
Yep.
It is not it's just more of the same and it's wasteful and it's terrible. I think
And can
that
I
it
say
is
something?
an illusion.
Yes. And what I hate, they'll do plastic, silver looking or gold looking knives, forks, and spoons. And you're like, oh, wow, they have real. And then you pick it up and you're like, oh. I gotta say, don't buy those. Fuck. Trying not to curse,
It's okay. I
Danielle.
beep it out.
Okay. But I am tired of people buying the plastics that look like silverware and a and then I pick it up and I'm like, "Okay."
I've done that at Thanksgiving.
I know people in our
It's
family have
mostly
done it.
because, like, I'm cooking all day, I'm not doing the effing
Oh,
dishes.
I I get it. I'm not a purist. I'm not.
Yeah.
You come into my house, you will find plastic. But I'm just saying, um, one, don't
Special
put
occasions are okay.
don't put I've been saying this a lot. Don't put red lipstick on a pig.
Right.
Just get the freaking plastic. You don't need to get the ones because I would argue I'm more disappointed when it looks like real silverware and it's not than if it's just plastic. I
Mm.
just accept it. Okay, it's a plastic fork. Bop, 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 eat. But when it's a silver one, you're like, wow, I got the real. Oh, no, I don't.
I mean, if you think about it, when we went to restaurants, I mean, granted, fast food was one thing, but like nowadays you see so many places that have the plastic spoons and knives and forks and all that stuff and not silverware or
Yeah.
not plates.
There are
You
certain
know?
restaurants that do silverware. I think Cava does. Cava, do you have a Cava yet? It's like,
Oh, we're getting one in the next week or two. It's
it
around the block
started
from here.
here. You're
Oh,
welcome.
really? Okay, we'll
It's
see.
a nice star. It's a nice. I would recommend it. We like it.
Okay. I all I'm saying is that like even right down to when you go to a grocery store and it's like a whole aisle of cereal and a whole aisle of coffee and you think you're getting all this different selection and everything and the truth is it's just the same freaking thing over and over
No,
again. Just narrow it
no,
down. And it's just a lot of plastic and a lot of other stuff. I
because
just
there
feel
is
like it's
some tea that is superior.
so just make it the superior. Get rid of the fluff.
I know, but who decides on the superior?
People that do it superiorly.
Like me.
Well, I mean, think about it. Like, I don't think there were as many cheap imitations when we were younger.
Oh, I agree. And speaking of which, I was complaining this morning about Dubai chocolate when it first came out, and you're paying a bit of an arm and a leg for it, but it was heavenly. I
Mm.
cannot find that again. Now you have all these cheap imitations of the Dubai chocolate, and it's crap.
Okay, Joanne, can I tell you? Hot tip here. Do you have an Aldi's not near you?
Yeah.
Okay, so just in the past 2 weeks, our Aldi's has been having, they have like the Irish cream kind of thing. I used to get it for dad every once in a while, but they had different flavors. But it's an Irish cream. They have one there. It's like $7 for a big bottle. They have a Dubai chocolate one, and it's so good. It
All
is
right,
so
I'll go
good.
check it out.
I and it's cheap.
I'm
So I
more
was
of
like,
a
it
Bailey's gal. It's
well, I
expensive.
understand that, but this stuff isn't expensive and I get it, but like I tried it and I was like, "Oh, I don't know if this is temporary. Let me buy 2. I'll put it to the side."
All right.
And it just has a
Am I
little
going
something at
anywhere,
the
Tom?
end of the
Okay.
day.
I'm sadly do it in the morning sometimes.
Woohoo!
Take the bottle. Oh, I could use this.
Well, all I'm saying is that it's enjoyable and it's inexpensive, so it's worth trying.
Okay. I well, I'll have to go over that on another one.
I
But yeah,
didn't find it
or
bad. But the point is that I think that there were a lot more there were selections because even do you remember when we were kids, we had the Primo stuff and there was like a handful of Primo brands, right?
do
And
you
then you
remember
had
us getting the
no
milkman?
frills. And then we
Oh,
had
the
no
no
frills.
frills.
And the no frills was the lesser thing. Maybe it
Yeah.
didn't have all the packaging that the others had,
No,
but
it
it was
was
still
black and
good.
white. It was all white with a line that said no
No
frills
frills,
Cheerios or
cornflakes. Yeah,
Tastios.
right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was still good. There was nothing wrong with it.
Our
I
taste
have
buds
really
were not
not as refined.
sophisticated.
Yeah, but like the thing is they started coming out with more and more products. I personally think they have added more and more filler foods or chemicals in it that makes you more addicted to it, sugar. And nowadays it's just what they do.
Yeah,
I
but
don't like it.
see, what I'm seeing in our area, yes, there's a lot of processed foods, and they're saying this younger generation, Gen Z, is getting more sicker because the processed foods have gotten out of hand. But what I've noticed, even in the cosmetic area, you're getting more product lines with all natural
And
ingredients
it's
and
insane
less
because they're
chemicals.
usually more expensive.
Yeah.
And you're like, how did all natural become expensive in comparison to the chemicals that have to have chemists that are like figuring out like
Yep.
the hell?
Yep.
But
I
yeah, I
agree.
just which oh, okay, so I'm gonna add one more thing. I think it and this is this might seem controversial, but, like, we're talking as somebody that did do the corporate treadmill for a long time. I'm not right now. I don't plan on doing it again. I'm going a different route in my life because I recognize how much I need to step away and be more present. Cooking meals from scratch without all the pre-made stuff, um,
Yeah.
life-changing in our family. Like, we
You
don't
know
get as
what
sick
was
anymore. We're not having as many issues with our weight. And it's not like we're eating more, we're just eating better.
Do you know what's astounding to me? But when we were younger, we used to get the cake mix, right?
Mhm.
So when I went off to college, I wanted to do it from scratch. And it was actually right after I graduated. And I got, do you know those packages for the cake mix? It's just flour, flavoring, and like baking soda and sugar. That's it. I don't know why they sell it as a I'm just like, "Holy cow," and I'm sure there's, stuff to keep it preserved and crap like that, but
Right.
you'll be surprised at how simple from scratch actually is. By the way, I made some yogurt last night.
Ooh, you're gonna have to tell me about that later.
Yeah, easy
'Cause
peasy.
nobody on here wants to listen to that, or it's 55 minutes into the podcast, and most people
Yeah.
have already dropped off, so we wanna thank those who decided to stay on. If you haven't subscribed, I don't understand why you haven't. You've been here for 55 minutes. Do it now. Please like and
Do
make
it, do
comments.
it, do it,
You
do
one of
it.
us, one of us,
One of
one
us,
of
one
us.
of us.
Uh Bunch of psychos. But comment because that really does get the word out. That helps this get out there, and we really appreciate you. And, are we done, Joanne? Because we have a hard time finishing these. We could just start babbling about what we're gonna be getting at the grocery store if we continue on. So we're gonna cut this short. Cut it short, Joanne.
Yep.
Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.